Somewhere deep inside a fortified control room, alarms blazed red across the screens. December 26th, Chengdu, China. An ordinary morning shattered in 6 seconds. Outside, twin silhouettes cut through the cold sky, their wings gleaming like predators exposed to daylight. This wasn't a training run. It wasn't secrecy anymore. The J-36 had arrived, unveiled not in whispers or leaks, but in full view, daring the world to watch history change. For decades, America's dominance of the skies rested on secrets, stealth projects hidden in desert hangars, bleeding-edge technology no rival could touch. But that morning over Chengdu, the balance trembled. China wasn't quietly catching up. It was baring fangs in broad daylight. The J-36 was more than an aircraft. It was a declaration, a challenge broadcast to every satellite and war room. In a single flight, Beijing signaled that the old order of air supremacy might be collapsing faster than anyone dared to imagine. As the J-36 rose into the pale winter sky, its form defied convention. No tail fins, no traditional silhouette, just a blended wing body gliding with predatory calm. 3 engines pulsed at its core, a configuration so radical it shattered decades of fighter design orthodoxy. But the choice of this day was no accident. December 26th marked the birth of Mao Zedong, a date etched into China's revolutionary history. The message was unmistakable. This was not merely a machine, but a monument in motion. A fusion of pride, power, and politics, unveiled deliberately to remind the world that revolutions now fly. Beneath the J-36's sleek frame lies a cavernous secret, an internal weapons bay stretching over 7.5 meters, vast enough to swallow payloads once thought impossible for a stealth jet. Where most fighters wear their missiles on their wings like exposed claws, the J-36 hides its arsenal deep within, invisible to radar. Hypersonic anti-ship missiles, long-range air-to-air killers, even strategic strike weapons, all can vanish inside its belly. This is not the profile of a defensive craft. It is the anatomy of a predator, a machine built to stalk silently, strike without warning, and vanish before the enemy ever knows it's there. At the J-36's core lies a gamble no stealth fighter ever dared. 3 engines bound into one frame. Together, they unleash crushing thrust, hurling the jet to blistering speeds, even when fully armed. But it isn't just speed. This trinity means survival. If one dies, 2 keep the Phantom alive. The surplus power fuels something deadlier than velocity, a storm of electronic warfare. Jammers, decoys, and radar ghosts all run without strain. Then comes its silent dagger, Super Cruise. No afterburner glow, no heat plume, just a supersonic shadow slicing through the sky. Radar can't track it, sensors can't see it. To enemies, the J-36 isn't a jet, it's a ghost. The J-36's shadow stretches far beyond China's borders. With an endurance of nearly 6,000 kilometers, it can rise from Hainan and strike Guam, soar from Tibet to targets deep inside India, or even reach the edges of Hawaii before circling back. In one sweep, oceans shrink and continents fall within reach. The very idea of a safe zone evaporates, replaced by the chilling reality of global vulnerability. Inside the cockpit, 2 seats sit side by side. An unusual choice for a fighter, but deliberate. One pilot commands the flight, while the other orchestrates the digital battlefield, linking drones, satellites, and strike aircraft into a single web. With AI-assisted targeting and real-time swarm coordination, the J-36 isn't just flying a mission, it is running the mission. This jet doesn't follow commands. It becomes the command center in the sky. For 80 years, American aircraft carriers have ruled the seas, floating fortresses, mobile cities of steel. But against the J-36, their might begins to crumble. Slipping beneath radar, it can unleash hypersonic missiles from stealth bays before detection. Even the vaunted Aegis shield falters. By the time alarms sound, The carrier is already dead in the water. The J-36 is more than metal. It is a message. For decades, China was dismissed as a copycat, borrowing and imitate. Now it emerges as the innovator, setting the pace others scramble to match. Defense budgets in Washington and Brussels surge, while Tokyo and New Delhi quietly rethink their alignments. This aircraft doesn't just challenge militaries, it unsettles minds. The battlefield has shifted to perception, and Beijing now writes the narrative. Measured against America's finest, the J-36 doesn't just compete, it eclipses. The F-22, once untouchable, falls short in range. The F-35, heralded as versatile, lags in payload and command control. And NGAD, the next-generation promise, remains years from the runway. China has already leapt ahead, sparking a debate the West cannot afford to ignore. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines and see what's really unfolding in the skies, make sure to subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts below. Whispers already hint at a carrier-capable J-36, redesigned for electromagnetic launches from China's Fujian supercarrier. Folding wings, reinforced landing gear, anti-submarine modules, signs of a variant built for the open seas. Meanwhile, satellite images suggest a massive new assembly hall in Chengdu, a factory built for scale, not prototypes. If true, China isn't unveiling one ghost in the sky, it's preparing to unleash an entire fleet. And that changes everything. The J-36 is not confined to a single role. One day, it flies as an air superiority fighter, the next as a deep strike bomber, and then as a command hub directing unmanned swarms. Each mission blurs the line between aircraft and network. Dozens of drones orbit at its command, decoys and hunters moving in perfect sync. This isn't a jet. It's a hive mind with wings, and adversaries never know its true purpose until the strike has already begun. Rumors swirl that the J-36 is more than metal and fuel. It may carry microwave emitters to blind radar, EMP bursts to cripple defenses, even defensive lasers to burn incoming drones from the sky. Combined with electronic jammers powerful enough to spoof satellites and disrupt missile locks, it becomes a weapon across every domain. What once belonged to science fiction now crackles in reality, rewriting the limits of aerial warfare. The J-36 signals more than capability. It reflects intent. China's air power is no longer reactive or defensive. This jet embodies an offense-first philosophy, rewriting rules of engagement and declaring a future where Beijing dictates the tempo of war. America's answer, the NGAD, remains locked in bureaucracy, prototypes years from flight, deployments even further. China chose its moment well, unveiling the J-36 early to exploit this dangerous window. For the first time in decades, the U.S. finds itself reacting, not leading, in the race for air dominance. The J-36 may be more than a machine. It could be the first aircraft to think. Neural nets allow it to adapt mid-mission, altering signatures and flight paths in real time. Dogfights become algorithms, battles become equations, and China positions itself at the forefront of autonomous aerial warfare. This isn't about dogfights, it's about dominance before the war even begins. The J-36 is both a warning and a promise of the future. If you want to stay ahead of what's flying next, subscribe, like, and share, because the skies are no longer empty. They're watching back.